Here we are on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter. All right, Enitor Pinkney, how you doing this morning? Riasa Sado. Okay, I hope I'm not messing up people's name. I'm doing the best that I can, y'all. I really am. All right. Give me a thumbs up if I'm getting your name right. Give me just a wave if I'm getting it wrong. And if you want to put it phonetically in the chat, go ahead and do that for me as well. All right. Excellent. Let me know if you're hearing me on Instagram, if you're hearing me and you're hearing the music. Let's go. For those of you that are on Facebook, for those of you that are on LinkedIn, for those of you that are on, where else are we? YouTube. Oh, YouTube, the YouTube people. How y'all doing this morning? Let's see what we've got. Do me a favor. If you are on, hey, Jaquise Moore, so good to see you this morning on Instagram. All right, fantastic. Ria says I'm pronouncing the name right. Love it. Excellent. All right, love it. All right, we've got about 40 seconds. That'll be a long show. I don't know if I'm ready for a 40-minute show just yet, but we're ready to rock and roll. If you are on Clubhouse, we're doing the audio version of this on Clubhouse as well. So if you want to join us on Clubhouse, you can do that. Just search Monday Mindset Movement on Clubhouse, and we're getting ready to rock and roll here in about 10 seconds. Here we go. 9, 8, 7. I'm counting faster than the pre-show, but that's all right. Here we go. Hey, y'all. What's up? It's Robert Kennedy III, RK3. That's me. Welcome back to another Monday Mindset Movement, the show where we give you 15 minutes of motivation, inspiration, and elevation designed to get you rocking and rolling through your week. The goal and the desire here is that you enter this week a certain way and you do not end it the same way. You want to make sure that you have an experience transformation during this week, that you focus on growth, that you just decide that you're not going to stay the same. You're going to be 1% better. Maybe it's not even the whole percent. Maybe it's just a millimeter of a percent. It's a percentage of a percent. But you decide that whatever it is, we're going to move forward. So I'm so glad that y'all are here this morning. Jaquise Moore, good to see you this morning. Angel Joel, good to see you this morning. My man Saska Lee is on Clubhouse. Natalie is on Clubhouse. Let's see who else is on here. Johnson, good to see you this morning. Jerry, good to see you this morning. Joseph, good to see you this morning. Linda, Virginia, good to see you this morning. Oh yeah, we got some Florida people in the house this morning. Colorado's in the house this morning. Oh my gosh, isn't it early out there? It's like 6 a.m. So glad that y'all are here. Listen, if you want to know when we're going live, hey, my man on YouTube, Rich Graham, good to see you this morning. If you want to know when we're going live, make sure that you text Go Live to 240-55-STORY. Text Go Live to 240-557-8679, and you will know when we are going live on the show. All right, so what's my question this morning? My question this morning is, have you ever felt like you're working hard? You're working super hard, but something that you're after seems just out of reach. It doesn't seem like you're getting any closer. What about this one? You're doing the thing that you need to do, but you look up and the destination seems like it's no closer than it was before. Have you all ever had that happen? All right. Maybe you feel like you're moving in circles, or you feel like you're on this hamster wheel. You're not gaining any ground or momentum. Go ahead and wave your hand or type me in the chat or in the comments if that has ever happened. All right. I'm saying Ria says it's evening in Kerala, India. Wow. All right. So we got some India people on here. Fantastic. I love it. Excellent. So glad that you're here. So if you've ever felt like that, this morning we're going to talk a little bit about finding your launch pad. What does that look like? What does that mean? How are we going to do that? Well, here we go, y'all. Let's get started with the show. Let's do it. Hey, we are getting ready to rock and roll this morning on the Monday Mindset Movement Show. So let's jump on in. But before we do, let me just greet a couple of people. D Bowden, good to see you this morning on YouTube. So glad that you're here. Who else is on the space? Johnny. Okay, good. I'm glad you're here this morning. Saskalee is on. Oh, Saskalee's on Instagram now too. All right, fantastic. Nathalie's on Instagram now as well. Fantastic. I'm so glad that y'all are here this morning. If you want to get in touch with me, if you want to get connected, reach out to me. Get in touch with rk3.com. We are also having our video storytellers show again, challenge again this month, a 3-day challenge, April 18, 19, and 20. You want to make sure that you are able to connect with your audience even better. Join us for that video storytelling challenge, Gosh, I'm moving ahead. April 18, 19, and 20, and you can just go to videostorytellingchallenge.com. But let's jump in. So here's the deal. I had this friend in high school, and they wanted to dunk. I wanted to dunk too. I think when you're in high school, one of the dreams of young men, little boys, is that they want to dunk, right? And so when you are at that age, you have a couple of options. You can either dunk because you're physically gifted enough or tall enough, or you can try to game the system. You can try to do some stuff. So when at that age, there were these magazines that we used to read, and these magazines would tell us that in order to jump higher, you would have to make your calves stronger. And so one of the things, they had these funky looking sneakers that the front part, only the toe part was high. And so you used to have to walk around on your tiptoes, but that would supposedly strengthen your calves. So I had these friends that they would get these ankle weights that would supposedly make your calves stronger in order to dunk. Now, I saw these people that were shorter than me dunking. I guess I was a little bit jealous. So I was saying, oh my gosh, what do I need to dunk? What do I need to do in order to gain the glory of soaring through the air and dunking that basketball through the rim? What do I need to do? And so I was doing everything that I could. I was doing everything that I knew how to. I was trying to figure out, okay, do I need to run faster? What is it that I need to do? And so I kept trying. I got to this place where I could grab the rim at first. And then as I got a little bit better, I would grab the rim, and then I would get a tennis ball and I would dunk the tennis ball into the basketball hoop. Right? But it was that last few inches. Every time I got to the place where I was trying to do it with the basketball, I just couldn't do two things. I couldn't hold on to the basketball. I couldn't palm the basketball enough to get it down. And I wasn't getting high enough so that I could dunk it with two hands either. It was just that last few inches. I needed just about 2.5 to 3 more inches in order to actually dunk this basketball. And that last couple of inches was just giving me beans. I just couldn't get it. No matter what I was doing, the exercises I was doing calf raises, doing all the things that I was told that I needed to do, I just wasn't getting over the hump. I just wasn't getting to the place where I could dunk this basketball. Until I spoke to somebody. I asked somebody who was shorter than I am what they were doing. And I had them observe what I was doing. And they said to me that they noticed something. They noticed that when I was going to the basket, I jumped up towards the basket, but I only jumped with one leg. I would run and I wouldn't stop running. I would just jump off of my left leg, and that would take me up as high as I was going to go. And they said, well, if you want to get a little bit more power, if you want to gain a little bit more height, you've got to use more energy, or you've got to use something else. You got to jump off of two legs. You see, because jumping off of one leg is going to give you a certain amount of power or generate a certain amount of energy. Multiplying that by two legs will give you a bit more. And so I learned to jump off of two legs in order to stop my forward momentum or turn that forward momentum into upward momentum that allowed me to then get higher and do what I needed to do with the basketball. How many of you have had that happen in your space? You've been trying to reach for something higher. You've been trying to reach for something greater. You've been trying to reach for something better, but you weren't effectively using the resources that you had at your disposal. Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you another quick story here. I don't know if you have kids, but there's this place, there are these jump parks, right? This place called Jump Zone. And I was taking my kids to this Jump Zone for parties. And there's this place inside of Jump Zone. It's like this trampoline area where they play dodgeball. And there was this one child, this young kid, probably about 15 or 16, very slender, very slight, wasn't really big, didn't have strong legs, didn't have a strong upper body, didn't seem like they were strong at all, but yet they kept out jumping everybody. They kept jumping super high. And I'm looking at this kid jumping. I'm wondering, why is this kid able to jump so much higher than everybody? Why is this kid able to jump so much higher than everybody? And after a little while, when he was on the side, I asked him, and I said to him, hey, I introduced myself. Hey, I said, hey, what's your name? I asked him his name. He told me what his name was. And I asked him, how is it that you're jumping so much higher than everybody? And he was kind of humble, and he just said, yeah, well, I think I just know what to do. I come here all the time. And I said, yeah, coming here all the time is one thing. It's like when I was a kid and my mom said, practice makes perfect. Sometimes it's not practice making perfect. It's practice making permanent. Because what if you're practicing the wrong thing? If you're practicing the wrong thing, you can learn to do the wrong thing really well. Right? So I asked this kid, I said, it's not just that you're coming here all the time. What is it that is causing you to jump higher than everybody? And he said, well, I don't know. I think there is a way to jump. Some people just don't have proper jumping technique, right? He said most people don't have proper jumping technique. There's a way to jump. And he said, but also there are places on the trampoline that if I jump in those places at the right time, it's going to propel me higher. I want you to get that. I hope you're getting that. Right? There are ways to jump, but there are also places on the trampoline. And here's the deal. The trampoline is not this secret thing. The places on the trampoline that will propel you higher is not this secret thing. It's not this thing that some people pay for and that other people don't have access to. Right? It's just that this child or this young person figured out that there are places on the trampoline that if you jump in those places, it's going to propel you higher. And the challenge that a lot of us have is that we are stuck in the same place. We keep banging our heads against that same wall, against that same place. And we wonder, we complain, we get angry. We wonder why we're not reaching success. And a big piece of that is that we are in the same place, doing the same thing, and expecting a different result. So how do you navigate that? How do you navigate that? How do you get past that? Well, number one, if I go back to the stories that I just mentioned, one of the big reasons that we don't jump as high as we potentially can is because we're not using resources at our disposal. I want you to just be introspective for a second and figure out what are the resources that I have that can help me jump higher. You see, if I go back to the story of myself jumping in the gym, there was a resource that person that told me that I was jumping off of one leg instead of two. That person was there. That person had always been there. They didn't just show up one day and all of a sudden give me some advice. They had always been there. The issue was I just never asked them the question before. So we don't always jump as high as we can because we're not leveraging the resources at our disposal. We're not leveraging our community. We're not leveraging our mentors. And part of the reason that we don't leverage mentors effectively is because sometimes we don't see the people around us as mentor material. Sometimes we think about mentors only as the sage who has done certain things that is 20, 40 years ahead of us, has the gray long beard and the stick and sits on top of the mountain. That's what we see as our mentor. But if they're shorter than us, younger than us, less wealthy than us, we don't think that they can mentor us in any way. We don't think that they can help us to jump higher. Now imagine if I'm in the gym or in the jump zone and I see this kid and I'm like, he's jumping higher, but he's young, he's short, he's skinny. He can't help me. And quite often, we block our own growth because we place our potential mentors in a box. We label our potential mentors because we don't think that they measure up or they fit the profile of what we see as mentors. And I got to tell you, you can have mentors of any age. You can have mentors of any size. You can have mentors of any gender. You can have mentors of any race or ethnicity. You can have mentors of all types. If you are willing to learn, if you are open to learning more, and if you are curious, if you remain open. And that's how we begin to jump higher, beginning to seek mentors or recognize mentorship and recognize resources in unexpected places or places that are already around us. Hey, Doris J., good to see you this morning. Right? So that's reason number one. Reason number two that we may not jump as high as we need to is because we are not paying attention to the things that we need to pay attention to. I like to say that in order to jump higher or in order to move further, you got to measure where you're moving, right? Good to see you this morning, Kimberly Follis. Good to see you this morning, Anthony, right? We got to measure where we're moving. But sometimes we're measuring and tracking the wrong thing. In 2016, Wells Fargo, the bank, hit the news for all of the wrong reasons, right? They had a lot of employees that were fired, that they had to lay off. They received some corporate fines. They had about 1.4 billion in losses. And the reason that happened was because they were tracking the wrong thing. You see, several years before, they had instituted this program where they would reward employees for opening new customer accounts. And this was being tracked. And they started to focus on opening customer accounts as the measure of success. That was their metric for measuring how high they were jumping. And so what happened was people began to say, okay, this is how you're measuring me, so I'm going to do whatever it takes to open new customer accounts. And so there was a lot of unethical behavior that started to occur simply because they started to focus on that thing, focus on that metric, rather than how their customers were being treated, how their customers were being supported, and I'm not downplaying Wells Fargo as a bad or negative company. All of us, both business-wise and personally, go through spaces or times where we make bad decisions or we focus on the wrong thing in business, and we see the result of it. And we're not able to jump as high. So sometimes we're not able to jump as high because we're measuring the wrong thing. So my question for you this morning is, what are you measuring? What are you measuring that will enable you to jump a bit higher? And in order to understand what you're measuring, we got to go back to number one, to the mentorship. Who are your mentors that can point out the things that you're measuring, that can point out where you're measuring? We've got to focus. We got to pay attention to what we're measuring. We got to pay attention to what our system of measurement is. We've got to pay attention to what our period of measurement or our period of assessment is. Right? All of these things will allow you to find your launch pad and jump higher. And if you're the opposite, or if you're in the space where you're like, I'm not going to jump, or because there's so much criticism in the world, because there's a potential for failure in this world, I'm not going to jump. I got to tell you this. I don't know who said this, but just right on my left-hand side, there's this quote that says, those who don't jump will never fly. It's only in the jumping that you learn to unfold your wings as you fall. So we've got to jump. We got to jump. Steve Harvey's got this book called Jump. I don't know where the video is. I wish I could play the video, but he's got this YouTube statement or inspirational talk that he talks about jumping. We've got to jump. And we can't jump higher if we don't jump. But know that if you're jumping and you're not jumping as high as you want to be yet, you've got resources that are accessible to you, resources at your disposal. You've got mentors, you've got community. And of course, once you lock into your mentor and your community, then you've got to have consistency. Look to be 1% better, just a little bit better today than you were yesterday. Or can I be just a minuscule amount better this minute than I was the minute before? I hope this is helpful. I hope this has really helped you to lock in this morning and refocus your mind about where you're going, what you may potentially have at your disposal, and how you can get to a place that you had never even dreamed about. I want you to jump higher. I want you to jump higher. Today is Monday, and we want you to shift your mindset to this place of growth. But it doesn't just start and stop on Monday. We encourage you to take your Monday mindset into tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. Hey, I encourage you, make a choice, move, start moving, be a movement. Join me next Monday at 8 a.m. for the Monday Mindset Movement. We're here on Clubhouse, on Facebook, on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter. Hey, join me next time. And I'll leave you with this quote here from Tommy Baker, who wrote the book, The 1% Rule. He says, we don't rise to the level of our expectations. We fall to the level of our training. Ooh. So what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Jump higher, y'all. Jump higher. Jump higher. I'll see you next time on the Monday Mindset Movement. Tell somebody. Peace.